Testing audio, test 1, 2. Okay. Hello. Anyone who's out there? Hello. All right. Okay, so this is gonna be kind of a quick stream to kind of make up for a stream I did earlier in the week. I don't know if anyone currently watching saw it, but basically I had a technical issue where I was trying to demo some IR reading stuff that I've been doing, and I couldn't read any IR data. And the reason why is that my IR sensor, I'm 90% sure that I popped it. Right before I went on, I was kind of rushing around to get everything hooked up, and I was paying more attention to, I also demoed some servo stuff using an analog joystick. I was paying more attention to that stuff. This, I was like, I've got it, it's a piece of cake, it's just 3 wires, and I definitely like plugged one wire in. I want to say I put ground to 5 volt, which is not a good idea. And I quickly like unplugged it, but around the same time I did hear a popping noise. But my fridge, it's a typical like terrible apartment fridge, so it makes a lot of popping noises. And at the time, I just thought it was my fridge. But then as I was having issues with this, the more I thought about it, I think I did actually pop this sensor. So I did have another one coming in the mail, luckily, and like the next day I got it and put it in and it worked. This one still isn't working, so I definitely like popped it. So that's why. So I kind of want to start off the stream by reading some IR data so you can see how that is working with the IR library that Adafruit has for CircuitPython. And then I'll show you what I've done so far with these buttons and getting it to read on the Apple TV. And then hopefully we can do some live syncing up with the Apple TV and try to control stuff. So let's dive right in. First, I just got to put the IR reading data on, IR reading code onto the Metro board. So let me just do that really quick. How is everyone tonight while I'm doing this? Take a look in chat. I've started keeping a folder on my desktop, you can't see it right now, where I'm just keeping all my CircuitPython code, because otherwise it gets like really unruly. I've gotten used to the whole like putting everything into main and not using a compiler, but that is the one thing I do miss, is being able to just like open up code files and just throw them into compiler like what I was doing with Arduino. So let's do that, uploading it now. I just gotta move some wires around. Very careful to put 5 volts ground, and then I'm just gonna move digital to cool. And I'm pretty sure that I already have the serial open. So let's see. I just gotta share my desktop, all the various windows. And this should transition over. Okay. So I'm gonna try reading this Apple remote. Oh, come on. I just did something to my actual Apple TV that I have going on here. I should probably like unplug this while I'm doing this. Okay. Let me try reopening the serial monitor. Man, I'm cursed with this. Those pops will get you every time. Ooh. Yeah, heat is tricky, Adam. In my apartment, I'm lucky, like, most of the people in my building, I feel like have the heat running all the time, so it gets fairly insulated in here. I rarely have to turn on my heat. Let's open up devices, make sure the serial port didn't change. Okay, now it's supposed to be 14. This always happens. So right now I just can't get the Metro board to open up the serial port again. I've got the right port. And this is all hooked up right. It's digital 2. I got digital 2 there. Oh, there we go. Okay, yay. So you can see that it hears the pulses, and so that's the pulses that are coming out through IR, and then it decodes these, and that is giving a specific identifiable command. So that was just a center button. And then if I press play, you'll see it gives like a 5 instead of 197. So that's how it's kind of differentiating. Then like the menu button, 95 left, 111 right, 159 down, 207 and up, 175. Sometimes you get some like false positives, like, or you get the NEC repeats. That's some like debugging stuff in this like example code. But yeah, if you get it to hear a certain number of pulses and then have it decode, then it's working. So that's like step 1 if you want to do something like this. I'm so glad it finally worked on the stream. Sorry, it's snowing in Washington? Oh no. Oh, I'm kind of close to the East Coast, like the Cape at Massachusetts, so I know what you mean about like not thinking it's supposed to snow, but then you get like water effect snow. Oof. I'm so sorry it's already snowing, Adam. I'm so sorry. But yeah, so that's the first part. So what I did is, this looks very busy, but basically what I did when I got this data was I'd open up a new serial monitor every time so that I'd have a clean window, because you can see after you've done a couple of them, it's kind of hard to like video on how to do like IR with CircuitPython using just the command line. So you're not even loading any main code on there. So when I eventually have a full video on this project, I'll definitely link that in there. And also when I do the write-up on Hackster, I'll also include it, because it was really helpful making everything like really make sense. So this is OK, and the decoded left, right, so on and so forth. And so then I'm going to load up the code I have to have it actually communicate, and it takes a bit for it to load up, so I'll take that opportunity to kind of explain a little bit more what we're doing. I'm not sure why, but for some reason I get this weird syntax error, and you'll probably see it when I load this up. Or maybe it won't this time, and everything will be okay. Yeah, it looks all right. Okay. So let me just unplug this lovely sensor, plug back in the infrared LED, and just because I don't want to pop another one, I'm just going to unplug that totally, and it can just live over there far away from all electrical impulses. So in order to send IR data, you need an IR or code to make sure I was sending the right data. I plugged in the sensor to a trinket and ran that test code that I was just doing on my laptop so that I could have 2 serial monitors, see what I was sending from here, and confirm on the serial monitor on my laptop that I was sending that data. I was actually doing it. So that's another thing I recommend if you do something like this, just so you can totally like know that you're doing everything correctly. I also remembered water for the stream. That's very important. So once you have this data, I found on GitHub this from Tanner, who's a dude who's like the CircuitPython master, and he had this like test code that was how you could send IR commands in CircuitPython. So I based my code on that. Let me pull it up. So this I need to clean up a little bit. You can do an array to make this a little cleaner, so I will in a bit. But I don't like to throw stuff into an array before I know it's working, because then you could have like a weird syntax error that's giving you false positives, false negatives. So, but anyway, as you can see, he has this like byte array thing here, and I have that here for the commands. This took me a bit to figure out because originally I had a CircuitPython file that was in the library folder. That was calling on like the full arrays. So I was trying to like run 2 things at once, like how they have the Adafruit IR remote file. But that wasn't working. So I knew I had to figure out this byte array thing, and I'm not like a trained coder or anything like that, so I had to do some searching. I found this thing, which is putting a list of integers into a byte array. And so I actually used this in the Python shell, which I'll demo it here. So you do import array, and then you do array.array, and hopefully I won't have, I mentioned the last stream, I had these blank keycaps I thought were a good idea, but I really can barely ever tell what I'm typing. And so what I put in was the decoded values. And I just experimented with this, and it worked. So I'll put in the menu ones. So these 4 numbers here. 136, 30, 63, 32. And bracket, and then I don't have the syntax memorized, so close the parentheses, and then comma, toString function. And then enter. Darn. What did I do wrong? B, comma. Oh, it's a dot, not a comma. I can't. Anyway, I'll just copy and paste that. Haha, live coding. Oh God, why? Okay, so then it spits out a byte array. And so if I open back up this notepad thing, I have down here all of the ones I put in. See, I also tried putting in the full array just because I wasn't sure. I really wasn't sure. So you can see I put these all in. It spits out these beautiful little byte arrays. I threw them into the main code here. I was a little concerned because like I did learn the star L is for like long integer, I think. Don't quote me. If someone knows more about Python, please correct me in the chat. So I wasn't sure if I had the right stuff, and then like where some of them also had spaces, I left the spaces. I really wasn't sure, but I tried it and it worked. Sorry, really thirsty. So then the next thing, like you do all the digital I/O stuff, obviously, and then this stuff is the pulse I/O things with pulse modulation out. That's the data that's getting pushed from the LED. And then, you know, every value, the transmit pulse, this is pulling from the Adafruit IR file. And then I'm sending the byte array on top of it. And then just for some debugging, I have printing like what it's sending. Now, the one thing that I had a little bit issues with, you can see in like Tanner's code, he has the generic numbers. So this is the data from like a generic remote. But I noticed, first of all, I wasn't getting anything to be read by the Apple TV. And I noticed that when I was like had the debugging going into the IR sensor on my laptop, like it wasn't matching what I'd originally had. So I looked at what the data was pulling, like the original arrays, and you can see like it's like the 9,000s and the 4,000s, whereas here they have 3,000, like 1,000, and so it's like different numbers. I noticed a pattern. I noticed that when I looked at what was being sent, it seemed to take the first two numbers here, followed by the fifth and sixth numbers. So there, and you can see they're like a similar, like the part, followed by the third and fourth numbers, which would go at the end, and then the last number, where'd you go, was the very last number in the array. So I was noticing that from when I was sending this data, that's how it was matching up. So what I did, because it was so different from what the Apple remote was sending, was I kind of rounded the numbers. So I was around 90, 42, 97, 9, so I put 90, 50, and then 44, 60, and then you can see like I kind of rounded it, and let me stretch it out, and then 575 is the last one. So when I put that in, then I was able to get it to be recognized by the Apple TV. Otherwise, it wouldn't be recognized at all. So let me, with this code running, let me get the serial monitor up. So you can see my breadboard's a little funky. I found, like, in the middle, this is a really old one, I wasn't able to get any thing to go through with these two buttons. So there seems to be, like, a dead spot in the middle. But this should be okay. And you can see it printed okay. And then left, left, right, up, down, menu, and play. Woo! And it's okay if it sends the data, like, more than once, because actually, like, on a typical remote, like, it's going to be sending the data, a lot, so that it can definitely be read by the device, and the device is, so there's that. But now, let's plug in the Apple TV, and while that's powering up, let me just take a look. Chat someone made an IR remote with Pi Zero, and nice, that's awesome. Yeah, I want to actually tell the story of why I'm even doing this. So the Apple TV remote, this is a Generation 3 one. I feel like a lot of people have that one. It's very small. It's very slim, beautiful, like typical Apple design, right? I lost it for months. Someone misplaced it back in like February, and it was just like 2 weeks ago I finally found it under like a stack of books, because someone had like kicked it, and it went off into the ether. And the reason why then, like, I tried looking for it, they didn't look for it at the time, so like I had no idea where it had gone, and they didn't seem to care. Typical like rude house guest. And so I had been using, you can use the app on your phone, like that's fine, but every once in a while the app gets unsynced. I'm not sure if anyone else has experienced that. So I was being lazy one night and I didn't feel like getting up, so I was like, I'll just like undo the remote on my phone and like redo it to like repair it, because otherwise usually I have to like unplug the Apple TV and like plug it back in, because there's no on-off switch, because thanks Apple. So I did that on my phone really stupidly, not realizing that the app doesn't automatically like find your TV anymore. You have to have an Apple remote to set up the Apple remote app on your phone. So I was screwed. I basically had like just a box that I could do nothing with. So I had to tear everything apart, find it. So I want to make this so I have a backup, and I'm also going to make it bigger. And I'm actually going to put it, for now, because I don't have any like fabrication things really, I have this box that's pretty sturdy. So I'm going to put it in here, and I already like placed out like how the proto board will be. Kind of similar to the layout of the Apple remote, and they're taller buttons, so I'll be able to have them on standoffs, cut holes in the top so that they're kind of up, and I'll be able to hit them that way. And I'm going to use a Feather M0 for the board. I'm just prototyping with the Metro, because I'm so used to using the Arduinos, it just feels really naturally to have all these like pins and everything. I like using the bigger board for prototyping. But Apple TV is on, so let me just reposition the camera real quick. So then you can see, because one thing I found out, which I wasn't surprised, I was glad I tested it beforehand though, is that the Apple TV has some DRM happening, so you can't put it into a capture card. And let me focus. Great. Okay. So then you'll be able to see it pair. So, is that good, or do we want capture card? I want capture card. It's a little dark, but you'll be able to see everything a little bit better. Or maybe I can move the webcam really quick. Yeah, I'll do that, because you don't need to see my glass of water. Okay, there we go. So let me navigate to settings. The only thing I was hoping I'd be able to like have it absolutely emulate an Apple TV remote, but I think there's some sort of handshake that happens with the actual Apple remote hardware and Apple TV, so it isn't seeing the signals as a Apple TV remote specifically, but I can sync it as a remote and it'll remember it. Because you can do that just with any remote, so you could just get like a general universal remote and do it that way, but what's the fun in that when you can just like build your own, you know? But yeah, I did need to change let me switch back real quick. It was really important to change this data, the remote transmit data, for it to be recognized by the Apple remote, the Apple TV rather, because otherwise it just didn't see it. So it's definitely operating on a slightly unique frequency. But okay, so we're gonna go to Learn Remote, and let's start. So we're gonna do up, that's woo, and now down. All right, and then right. Oh no, sorry, that's left. Woo. I'm just gonna check the code really quick to make sure which order. I went left. Okay, left is next. So that's here. All right, right. Okay, select. All right, and menu. Okay. Let's try it. Oh, I think I might still need to use I'll just keep it named custom for now. Actually, no, let's call it CircuitPython. I'm really terrible at navigating this, by the way. Is anyone else also terrible at it? That's the one good thing about actually the app remote is an actual keyboard like opens up. Ah, that's so cool. Get it more into view so you guys can see. I think it gets it like kind of out of range when I'm behind it, which makes sense. You're be using it like behind. Yep. Yep, it's going. Awesome. All right. Yeah, so it's definitely working. Cool. Okay. Wow. So yeah, now the next step's going to be getting it into the housing, and soldering this up. I'm probably going to solder this up tomorrow. And yeah, there will be a full write-up on Hackster, and I'll have my code up on GitHub as well. But I think that's going to do it for the stream. Unless anyone has any questions in chat or anything like that. Yeah, and this will be available for playback too if anyone wants to watch. But All right, I think I'm gonna wrap it up. Thank you for watching, joining in. I hope people are experimenting with CircuitPython, because I feel like I should have started like a while ago, because it really is really intuitive and you can do a lot with it. But okay, hope everyone has a good rest of their Saturday night, and see you soon. Bye!